Hello, guys. Welcome to another chapter of the Cinnamon Chats. Today we have a special friend named Ren, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hey guys, my name's Ren. I have the pleasure of meeting Ed through Instagram actually. And I'm so excited to be here and talk about my travels and how I'm able to do it, and hope to inspire you guys to do the same.
Yes. So if you have seen the beginning of the video, there's all the social media or any other platform where you can contact Ren. So you should give a follow to her Instagram because she's hilarious. I promise. I promise that there will not be a day where she shares a story and you will not laugh. Like that's a given. Like like this woman has the gift to make everyone's day with her stories. So I'll just suggest you to go give her a follow.
Oh,
Uh,
that's a nice compliment. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. So where are you from?
So originally I am from California, actually. I was born there, in this like tiny town in the Bay Area.
Uh-huh.
And then I moved to Texas. I'm in Texas now. I moved to Texas about 10 years ago for university.
Hmm.
And then I stayed because I really like Austin, Texas. But I only stayed for a little bit because then I decided to start traveling. And I've been traveling for now. I mean, it's COVID, but now it would have been for a little over 4 years that I've been traveling.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, tell us about the beginning of your journey as a traveler.
So when I was younger, I like never even thought about traveling the world. I never really had this like hunger to see the world. It was like sort of this like far away thing I never even thought about. What I was thinking about when I was little was I wanted to be a veterinarian, which is like totally opposite. And so I went to school, I went to college, I was pre-vet, or I guess pre-med. And little by little, I noticed that it wasn't really for me. So I switched my major to sociology. So that's what I studied. And I graduated, and I still didn't really think about the whole travel thing. I like got a sales job, did that for a year. I was selling, it was so funny. I was selling logistics solutions. So like I was basically driving, going into places and being like, hey, do you need help shipping? And it was the worst. It was okay, but it was like not the best job. I really got burnt out, and I was like, there's got to be more to life than this, because it was like, the standard 9 to 5, but it was longer than 9 to 5, right? And it was stressful, and I started noticing like headaches and stuff, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, because I kept hearing, I kept meeting people that, especially during that job, actually, one of my coworkers, his name was Billy. He would always talk about how he lived in China and he used to teach English, and he said it was like an amazing experience. And I kept hearing these stories, and I always caught myself saying like, oh man, I really wish I could do that. Like that's actually sounds kind of cool. But then I thought, oh, there's no way, I've got a dog and I've got an apartment here, and I'm doing my stuff. I gotta work on my career. And like it kept occurring to me. I kept hearing myself say like, man, I really wish I could do that. And then I noticed, like, I'm not married. I don't like own a house. I actually could do this. So then I did. So then I quit my job. I got certified to teach English to as like English as a second language.
Yourself.
And yeah, ESL. And then I moved to Italy. And I was supposed to only travel for a year. Like I was like trying to find a foster, like a long-term foster for my dog. So I was like, okay, 6 months to a year, maybe I could do this. It ended up being I never really came back and stayed. I like went from Italy to India to Australia, South America, back to Italy. I kind of hopped around a bit. But yeah, I'm just whenever I do come back, I'll like visit my family, work if I have to a little bit, and then yeah, set up again. Not now. Now I'm just stuck in my apartment.
Hey, but Probably like checking out all those great memories you had on each place.
Yeah, yeah. I've been like scrolling through my pictures, like reminiscing on the good times. That's why I like keep posting. I'm like, guys, remember when I was in Colombia?
Yeah, I saw some of your virtual tours. They are pretty cool. I liked a lot of the photos you took.
Yeah.
So like, how that has changed your perspective about life before you began traveling? Because I know like I lived in the United States before, and I know like standards are very high. There is a way that you do life, and then you go around the world probably, and there's like, okay, probably that's not the goal of life in itself. So how that has reshaped you and the way that you used to think about life and now?
Oh, I love that question. So I am pretty much irrecognizable from before I left. Like, I'm such a different person. I like to think I've changed for the better. I don't know. But I like, one, I'm much happier with who I am, who I've grown to be, just because I left my circle, I left my box. And that's why I'm so passionate about encouraging others to, get outside your comfort zone, not outside, but like outside your country, or even outside your city that you're from, your small town. It makes such a huge difference. I mean, the moment your eyes are open to what else is out there, it completely changes how you think about yourself, the people
Mhm.
around you, the world in general. It's amazing. And it's changed me. Now I live my life like gaining these perspectives. I live my life in a much more purposeful way. So I think about things my priorities have completely shifted. I think about things differently. Like, for example, going to countries like India, or countries that you see that like how incredibly blessed you are, especially as an American. A lot of us are very, very blessed. We're very lucky to have clean water, hot water in the shower, like that. In a lot of countries, I had to take cold showers, and I was like, this is difficult. And it's so crazy. It makes you think like, oh my gosh, my life is freaking amazing. Um, so now I think like when I come back, I am like, man, this pillow is awesome. Because normally when you're sleeping in hostels, the pillow is like a piece of like paper. You're like, okay, enjoy. And it sucks. So when I come back and I sleep on my comfortable bed, and I have an amazing pillow and AC, like I can put my AC to whatever degree I want. It's crazy. It's like the things that I appreciate are so stupid. Like most people that haven't like experienced the crappy part, like they're just like, yeah, it's 71 degrees in here. So like it feels so good. So it makes you really appreciate the little things. And also like going to those countries makes you realize, wow, there's so much waste, trash, and it's really opened my eyes to like how much waste I produce as a person. Like I try to recycle, and like that, it's completely shifted the way I think about things, which I mean, I like, but it's also annoying probably to other people because they're like, oh, Ren, we've been walking around 3 blocks. Like you're not gonna find a recycling bin. And I'm like, yes, I am.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. For you guys that don't know, we actually happened to overlap in one of your trips here, right? Because we came
I
around the same
was,
time.
yeah, I was. So when was I in Cusco?
I was he-
Um,
December 2000. I was here December 2019 to 2020, and I was here for like actually the New Year's Eve day. That's when I arrived.
wait, no, I was actually there December 2018
Okay.
and 2019. Yeah, we
Okay.
did Machu Picchu, like the Inca Trail. Oh yeah, that was awesome. um, we went through a company called G Adventures
Yeah.
for like full. So we did like 3 weeks in Peru, something like that. 1 week in Bolivia. It was amazing. It was like so much fun. And Cusco is probably actually. while we were on the tour, I was like, I'm gonna come back to the city because I want to live here. When we were in Cusco, but of course I had to finish the tour. So I actually was planning on going back to Cusco, and then something changed. I went to Colombia, and then I was supposed to go to Brazil, and yeah, that's like one thing for travelers. Don't plan ahead. It never works out. Too far ahead. I've had to like change flights, and now I'm just like, whatever. I'll just plan like a few days ahead, and then see where it goes.
Yeah, that year, New Year's was beautiful. The plaza was full of people, full of fireworks, so it was pretty cool.
You're
Anyways,
welcome.
yeah. So how do you prepare for your trips? Like,
So like mentally or physically?
like both?
Like both. Okay. Um, I okay. So one thing, especially when I first started traveling, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. None of us do. So I was always following, like, I hope my old boss isn't watching, but at work, I was always like on traveler blogs, being like, what do I pack? What do I do? What do I wear? What do I say? What do I not say? I don't know. I have to figure this out. So I just wanted to be 100% prepared. So there's one blog that I was like on a lot. His name's Nomadic Matt. He's like super famous. Um, there's also Be My Travel Muse. She is awesome. She's been traveling the world solo for years and years, and she just like is just such a badass chick. Like I was so inspired by her. There's a bunch. So I was always on those blogs, reading what I had to read and knowing what I had to wear. Like, for example, if you go somewhere like India, I wanted to know exactly what to wear. I wasn't gonna walk around in something that was gonna be like, what is that chick doing? so, so yeah, I mean, reading a lot. Honestly, you can't really get 100% prepared, especially for countries that are very, very different than like culturally than your own.
Yeah.
That's actually part of the exciting part because I don't know, like sometimes you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like so much better than I expected. Because you see it on Instagram, you see it on the travel channel, you see it on Facebook or whatever, and you only get like a very, very, very small portion, and then like you imagination creates the rest, right? But then when you get there and you get to eat the food and talk to the people, the food, okay, this is why I travel. The food. I get so excited about this. Yeah, there's really not make a packing list for sure, but also read up on where you're going. I think it helps a lot. I mean, you don't want to be like 100% unprepared, or especially with the safety, like traveling as a solo female. There are things you have to know that guys don't have to worry about. So reading a lot helps. Talking to your friends who have already been there also helps.
Yeah. So what would you say that what are a few of those things that a female solo traveler has to worry about?
Gosh, there's a long list. Unfortunately, I mean, it is just the way it is. Depends on the country too. But I practice the same sort of safety precautions as I do at home. Like I don't really walk around at night. Depends on the area. Like if you're downtown and you're like around a bunch of people, like obviously depends on the country. I always made sure that my flights never landed after sundown. So, just make sure that you're never in a position where you're trying to figure out which bus to take, which train to take, and it's nighttime, or about to be nighttime, because you never know if you're gonna get lost, and then it's midnight and you're like, oh. So that's one big thing. And having like a buddy system. So I do travel alone, but I do almost always stay in hostels, or I guess I did before I became a travel agent. But there's always people at hostels that are also traveling alone, and it's so easy to make friends where you're like, it's 9 p.m. but you're like, oh crap, I'm hungry, and you're kind of staying in like a sketchy area, and just go up to someone and be like, hey friend, want to go grab a sandwich? And usually they'll say yes. So it's nice to it makes it like honestly it makes you be very like you need to learn it, you basically learn how to make friends way quicker than you thought you would. Very talkative and like for me, I don't think I was as open and friendly before. I've definitely learned I'm obviously friendly, but a lot less shy now, and I'm like way more willing to go up and talk to strangers. So that's another way I've changed is I've learned how to talk to strangers way better.
That was awesome. That's awesome. So, what are you looking when you know you're going to in a country? What are you looking for the most? When yeah, what's that the theme like the culture, the food, the places? I don't know what.
So I found that this one, like, when you were asking this question, like, there's one thing that definitely popped in my mind. But take a step back. It's not all about food, Ren. Calm down. But it is. And I tend to go to countries where the culture is nothing like my own. So American culture is distinct, but not very distinct in a way. And I like going to cultures or going to countries where it's like a flip flop, like very, very different. I didn't realize that, like when I moved to Italy, I didn't realize that the culture was so much different than mine because so my family is Brazilian. We're like, my parents are like straight off the boat Brazilian. So we're very warm and welcoming and, you know, spicy and fiery. And I thought that the warm and welcoming, like Latino warmth kind of thing I would find in Italy, and I did, but you guys, I guess you just don't really know how much a culture is going to impact you until you get there. And
Yeah.
it was fascinating. But I find that I try to go places where the cultures are totally different because that's what, you know, that's what's exciting. You go, you learn about the culture, and then when you come back and you meet someone of the same culture, you have so much more of an appreciation for them. That's probably the biggest one, but also food. I get so excited when I get to a place and like there's food that I've never tried before. That's like always my priority is to try their like local cuisine. And you know, America's got good food, but like, have you been to Greece? Like, it's so good. So I just find myself eating a lot.
That's awesome. And also, like, food is culture, though. Like, you want to know more about a culture, you share a meal with someone local, and you learn a lot more about a culture. Yeah.
I'm a big believer that the culture lies deep within the cuisine. So basically, you gotta eat. Normally, like when I'm at home or when I can, I'm normally like vegetarian. I eat really healthy. But when I'm abroad, I'm just like, give it to me. Like I'll eat all the pizza, like everything.
Ain't that vegetarian anymore?
No, I kind of make exceptions. Like for example, like in Brazil, the food there is very meat heavy, and so when I just recently, before COVID, actually, right before COVID, I went and visited my family, and I was there for like 6 weeks, and there's meat in everything. And my family is very meat heavy, and so, you know, if you want to eat vegetables, there's like salad and stuff, but I was like, okay, I'm here, I'm going to absorb the culture as much as possible, I'm going to eat everything. So I did eat meat quite a bit, and then when I came back, I went on like a proper detox, because I was like, oh my God.
That's funny. So, what's the funniest memories that you have from your travels?
Oh my gosh. That's a lot. That's wow.
Yeah.
Probably, well, I don't know. When I'm traveling solo, I always find a way to embarrass myself somehow. So there's probably a lot of those. But there are like a few times where I've traveled with other people. Like I went to India with my friend who was Australian, who's like so hilarious. The trip was really fun. But it was actually in Peru. That tour that I went on. Another friend who's Australian, we became really close, and she is so funny. Like we have the same sense of humor, and we just laughed pretty much the whole time. So many things happen. You know, when like you're traveling and like you're late or you get sick or something happens. You know, you can't really plan. Like I said, like things will go wrong. So we just made the best of it. And yeah, oh gosh, that was so much fun. Her name's Jess. Shout out to Jess. She is hilarious, and she made the trip so much fun. So like anything that would happen, like when we were hiking the Inca Trail, like there were so many things. Like half of us were sick. Like it was so bad, but it was still super fun. It was really nice. Yeah, that was like a really good trip. That's like a highlight of my few years traveling.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So, what do you wish that most people knew about traveling?
like I said, though, before I was like, I want to inspire people to travel more because it's just so good for you, right? Um, I wish that people knew how easy it is to do. I think that before, I was like, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wish this, I wish I could afford, blah blah blah. But if you really want to do it, it is very possible. People think that like flights are very expensive, housing is expensive. It does get expensive, but I think that there's like this idea that travel is like so difficult, so expensive, you have to put so much effort and money into it. Where really, it's not as hard as you think. And I didn't know that until I started doing it. There are ways to travel cheaply, or find deals or use points for your flights. Like there are ways to do it, and I think that more people need to know that like it's not that hard to leave your country. Like get your passport, get them out of here, because it's like so much fun and so good. It's like so refreshing, and like have you ever met a person who comes back from a trip and they're like, oh, that sucked. I wish I would. No, it's never like no one comes back from vacation and they're like, wow, I really wish I would have stayed home on my couch eating cheese. They're like, so I want people to know that it's easier than it seems. And to find that out, you can use a travel agent because we like show you all the cool shit. Oh, sorry, I cussed.
It's okay. So thank you so much for for this time. And we have some questions from Instagram. I put a story the other day to ask Rem some questions. So I'm gonna read them, both of them. The first one is from the Prince alum, and the question is: are you happy?
Am I happy? I am.
Are
happy.
You?
Yeah, when I'm traveling, I'm at happiest. I remember there are like moments that I have had on the road alone, and I'll do this thing where if I'm feeling like a strong emotion, like happiness or sadness or something, usually not sadness, but I'm feeling something really strong, normally positive, I'll take a selfie. And I do that because, and I just like, doesn't matter what I look like, I'll take a selfie because I want to remember how great that feeling was. And then like, you scroll through your travel pics and you're like, oh yeah, man, I was feeling like pure bliss. There are moments where I remember specifically in France, Nice was my first, like I got to Nice all by myself. I like stayed in a hostel for the first time. And I was on the beach and I was like, I have never felt this feeling before. I just felt so amazing. I was so happy to be there, and I was so happy that I actually like took the plunge. And yeah, so when I'm traveling, I am really, really happy. Not to say that when I'm not on the road, I'm not happy, but I finally found something that makes me happier than anything else has.
That was awesome. Stacy Skills asks Ren, 3 tips for traveling in India.
Okay, so the 3 tips that I definitely would recommend if you're a female, and even if you're a male, have a travel buddy. It makes things a little bit easier. So I was, you always hear like for those countries with very different cultures, go with someone as like, like a safety precaution. And I'm really glad that Riley came with me. It like, one, it made the trip so much more fun. And 2, like Riley and I would take like the trains or the buses or the tuk-tuks or whatever, and doing it by myself, it would be a little bit more daunting because, like walking around by yourself, like I'm a blondie, and you already, because you have light skin in India, you already are, you already attract attention. So I think there's safety in numbers because you never really know, especially at night, like I said, when you're hungry. So yeah, safety in numbers, have a buddy. It's always a little bit more fun too. But also find someone that you can travel with. Don't go with someone that's like, you only go with them for safety. Like make sure that you're gonna travel well together. And then, okay, so that's my first tip. My second tip is expect for things to be delayed. There were so many times that we were supposed to take a train from, like, for example, like Delhi to Agra or somewhere, and the train was like 5 hours late. It's one of those things where it just takes forever, and it says, this trip is going to take 6 hours, and then it can take double that time, and you're stuck in the bus for 12 hours, without AC, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm so sweating. So just give yourself like a lot of room. Don't like pack all the things in your trip. Like give yourself, like normally, for example, in Europe, you want to see 5 things. In India, give yourself 2. So that's just how it works. And then the third one would probably be, expect to be dirty. Getting from places to places, a lot of the streets are dust. They're like very dusty, dirty. So there were times that, like especially when we got out to cook or I got back to the hostel, this is gonna be really gross. So just everyone prepare yourself. I would like take my nails and just like scratch my skin, and I would have like black grossness on my skin, and that was just from like being outside during the day. It's not like we were like wrestling with dogs. Like we weren't doing anything other than walking. And yeah, like you can see the pollution on your skin and like in your nose. And yeah, so just expect to be dirty, be comfortable in your filth, and just enjoy the ride, because India's amazingly beautiful. I really had a good time, and the food's amazing, and the people are amazing, and I just like I can't wait to go back there. But it does come with stuff.
Yeah, I love chicken biryani. I never been in India, but I had an Indian classmate. Oh man,
So
Indian food.
good.
Indian food is so good. Anyways, any final words to the people who are listening to us?
I think we're good. I mean, the only thing is like get out there, travel as much as possible. We have 2 legs, guys. We're not meant to stay in one place. So get out there, see as much as you can, bring it back to your home, and be like, guys, this was so cool. And if you want to follow my travels, or I mean, right now I'm not really traveling, but I share a lot about my travels. You can find me on Instagram at roaming with Ren.
Yep. Link below, and you'll find it in the description. Thank you so much, Ren, for your time.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.